This is the Spout Podcast, where famous people spout off about more than what they're famous for.
Maybe this is our story of our love.
That was funny.
Without further ado, so this one time I was just walking down the street. Louis Tomlinson! What's up, man? Good to see you.
Wow, great reaction. How you
Right?
doing? Hello, everyone. Hello.
Louis, how are we feeling, man?
I'm good.
You've been all over, dude.
Yeah, it's been a mad week.
Yeah.
Mad couple of weeks. Yeah.
Well, I want to get into the travel in a second, but last time we saw each other, this is a very unique thing. I feel like this is going to remind you of a very specific moment. You were on MTV. We were doing a show called Summer in the City, and they had you shoot soccer balls, and I was the goalie.
And it's time for us to see how good your football skills are with a little footy with Louis. This is such a bad idea.
Oh my! That clip came back up on my timeline recently. Yeah, you were a brave man. You were a brave man that day.
Well, so let me give you the backstory, right? The producers are like, hey, we're having Louis on. He's an amazing football player. And I'm like, not amazing. He's an amateur. Like, he's an actual football player. And they're like, yeah, you're going to play goalie. Terrible idea.
Yeah, it was good fun for me, lad.
Luckily, I asked my producers for a helmet.
You're the first goalkeeper I've ever seen wear a helmet. I will say that.
Well, I eventually got hit in the head with a ball on live television.
Fair.
But Nidja, it's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, so you've been all over the place. What are your travel essentials? Like, you are an expert when it comes to being on the road, right? 10 plus years now. What do you need with you at all times?
I don't really have anything like that. My PlayStation, that's about it, really.
You bring a PlayStation with you everywhere?
I do. In my rucksack. It's heavy, though, man. It is heavy.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, by end of year, I'll be massive.
What are the games, FIFA or?
FIFA, yeah, just rinse FIFA. Play a bit of NBA, to be fair.
Nice.
Call of Duty.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice, a little bit of everything. Faith in the future, to say we're excited for this is an understatement. November 11th. I'm just trying to build this like in a world where Louis Tomlinson. Last time you were about to release an album when Walls came out, you were ready to make a name as a solo artist. You were ready to hit the ground running, hit the tour, and then the world stopped. And you got the chance to kind of sit with Walls, and we all got it, but you didn't get the chance to really do a lot with it live yet. And then you've just got off a massive tour. Congratulations. 5 continents, I'm hearing. 88 days.
Apparently so, yeah.
Was there anything, I don't want to use the word forgot, but was there anything that you were instantly reminded of when you got to be live in front of fans again and performing this music?
It had been such a long time. I mean, I had those 2 shows before COVID hit, but it had been such a long time that I'd had that consistency of show after show.
Sure. So
it was, everything just felt better than I remembered it. I mean, I had 2 years of just like wondering what this tour would feel like. Yeah. And honestly, it's been absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. The energy that comes with performing live. You said
one person on the road cheering.
I want to get this quote exact right. You said that this new album has an emphasis on live sound and multi-dimensional production. What do you mean by multi-dimensional production? Are we going into the metaverse?
I don't know if that was a direct quote. Maybe I said I was closed-minded a little bit on the first record. I think there was a lot of room to be over-analytical on the first album. Yeah. And like, for example, because I did that Steve Aoki tune to start with, and the fact that it was kind of like a pop dance hybrid. Sure. For that reason, because of that, because I didn't really think that kind of showed off who I was as an artist, who I wanted to be, I avoided any kind of dancey like sounds on the first record. Sure. So I think that this album, there was less time to overthink and more time to kind of be brave and go deeper with using different sounds.
Yeah, which I love with Bigger Than Me, we can already hear that. You can hear how big this record is, how live it's supposed to sound too. Do we have any, assuming there's a tour coming up, or we're going to tour this album at some point, assuming Do we have any idea of the kind of band you're bringing on with you? I mean, are we going, or is there a full horn section? How big is this going to get?
As in the band I'm going to play with?
Yep.
My usual band that I play with, and then normally what we do is like the slightly bigger shows, we'll have a little string section. Always adds a lot having strings on.
I like that a lot. So when you say string section, like 5 people, 6 people, full orchestra?
We try. I think there's normally about 8 off the top of my head.
Wow, that's very cool. Let's talk about your Away From Home
Was that
Fest.
worth a round of applause? Thank you. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
Let's talk about your Away From Home Fest.
Let's do
This
that.
festival that you started, you're in charge of, you build, you take to different places. What are we looking at next?
I don't know. We're kind of working it out at the moment. At some point, I'll definitely bring it over to America. It's just, will it be next year? I don't know. I don't know. My mission for next year's festival is just to try and make it feel even bigger than the last one. This year's festival felt massive, to be fair. So it's just about if I can do it over 2 days or build up a longer kind of lineup so the day feels longer. Anything like that would be a bonus.
When you're starting to think about locations or the lineup, how are you taking? Do you have a notes app? You're like, maybe that'd be cool to have this artist on it or this place, or is it just something in the back of your head at all times?
A bit of both. Over the year, when I was putting the lineup together for this year, there might be a couple of bands that I've heard along the way that I'll make notes of. Yeah. In terms of location, just want somewhere that looks really cool, really interesting. Because that's the thing with this festival, we'll move it about. So where it'll be next year, I've got no idea, but hopefully somewhere nice and sunny.
Somewhere sunny, somewhere beautiful. You're a songwriter, you're core. And I want to make sure I got this right, but you were planning on being a songwriter, pursuing that before X Factor and all of that.
Potentially, I didn't know what else to do, really.
Yeah.
I wasn't really thinking about doing a solo career, so I was just like, I write a lot of songs, I might as well give that a go.
With all those ideas and those songs that you wrote down, is there anything still percolating? Maybe you've developed over the years?
Yeah, I don't think so. I have difficulty once I've written a song and maybe it's not been chosen for an album or I haven't pitched it out. It's kind of like a moment in time, so I kind of leave it there. There may well have been something I wrote in the early process that could still be good, but I feel like I've evolved quite a lot as a writer since then.
Yeah,
there'll be time for that at some point, but at the moment, this is full on. You know what I mean?
So when you're sitting with an album, right, you're playing it back, you're giving yourself notes. You're like, okay, I want to tweak this track, or maybe I've listened to it all the way through, and let's flip the order a little bit. How long does it take you before you can just sit with it? Before, this is my album, I'm not changing it again.
In terms of how long it takes, I suppose that's different.
I guess what's the cue, or what's going through your head?
You can get to in terms of being fully happy with each song on the record, you can get to 95%, and then you could spend forever trying to find that extra 5%. So at some point, because we're all perfectionists as songwriters, so at some point you kind of just have to let it go, because otherwise there's always room to change a lyric or change a sound or whatever. So at some point you just got to kind of trust your gut and go with what you got.
And you work with a lot of cool people, Jamie Hartman, who you worked with on Walls and whatnot. I think you said he was one of the first songwriters to trust you and trust your instinct. Let's shout out some people that you worked with on this album, this record.
Oh, I've got a shit memory, right? So Theo Hutchcraft from Hertz, he was a great person to work with. Rob Harvey, he wrote on Bigger Than Me. Red Triangle, Joe Cross plays in the Cortinas. That was fun. Yeah. Never ending list, and I'm inevitably going to forget someone. So soz.
Well, then let's talk a little bit more about that songwriter room or that writing room, right? What is there anything specific you need from a mindset capacity when you're going in to write, or is it just never ending? It's just a constant script.
Well, one thing that I tried to do a little bit different this time round, if let's say I was going to the studio tomorrow and you turn up at midday and you've got the studio booked until 7, let's say, it all of a sudden feels like work, and it kind of changes the creative feel. So sometimes if you go on a writing camp, you might be staying for 2-3 days in a house, and it means that you can write freely and when you want to. So because of that, it means, or at least through my experience, the writing feels more authentic because you're not kind of searching for it and you need to find the song in these 6 hours. Do you know what I mean? You've got time to really kind of develop those thoughts.
Do you have a preference on a place that you like to write?
I've done pretty much all my writing between England and LA. I do love writing in England. It's just weather shit a lot of the time.
I was just there on Tuesday, yeah, so I can...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I literally just got
nice.
back. I was there for the Queen's funeral and all of that, and it was a wild moment to be there for. But
Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, she lived an amazing life, guys, and it was a really significant thing to be there for, but I'm sure. Okay, so we're writing. We have the songwriting. We know we're in London, we know, or the UK, we know we're in LA for that. Thinking about this new album, Faith in the Future.
Getting high on the amber wave, going deep for the ones who do the same. Air Maxes or silver tongues, settling for another heavy one.
Is there anything on it, words, lyrics that you go, I can't wait for the public to have that, for my fans to have this, for it to become theirs?
To be honest, it's when I think about those moments of excitement of people hearing, what I've had to listen to for the last however long, 12 months. It's about those live moments. This album was written very much with the tour in mind.
Which is unique. Sometimes that's not always the case.
Yeah, well, it's my favorite part of the job. In my opinion, it's the best way to hear music. Sure. Those experiences are priceless. So this record was very much written with the live sounds in mind. So I'm most excited just to tour this album because there wasn't a load of tempo on
So
Walls.
we are touring this album.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, I'm not releasing it for nothing.
It's exciting. I cut you off a little bit. You said with Walls, that wasn't exactly the mindset, or...
Yeah, I pretty much finished. Yeah.
Louis Tomlinson, man, thank you for taking the time. We're gonna bring you back on in a second, but we get a chance to hear a few songs off this album now. Anything that people should know before they hear this?
I don't know. Make your own opinions. I'll see you in a bit.
Louis Tomlinson, guys. Louis Tomlinson, second round. I'm not just saying this, dude. I was blown away. That's incredible.
Thanks a lot,
dude.
man. Thanks
love
a lot.
this.
Thanks
okay,
a
so
lot.
the live sound thing makes a lot more sense now. That's wow, man. I think okay. So favorite songs, shout them out. Do we know? You got all that right.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, for sure. Let's jump into some fan questions. Sound good? She already regrets what she wrote down. From Hannah, what was your favorite moment from tour with Sunroom?
Oh, probably there was a show. I'm trying to remember which was it here in Portland? The one where we f***ed them up and we ran on and like, yeah. I'll support. I think that was just one of those. Are you sure that was the show? Where we ran on with Sunroom, we wrapped them up and we. Okay, yeah. Well, anyway, that's the one.
They know, man. They know.
You know better than me, innit?
From Natalie, my birthday is in 11 days. Happy early birthday, Natalie. How would you celebrate your ideal birthday?
Don't know. Maybe go to football and then probably a big night out. Simple as that. Easily pleased.
Love that. This is very appropriate to what we just heard from Alec. What songs on Faith in the Future are you most excited to play live?
Song called Silver Tongues. I mention it every time. That's going to be really, really fun live. There's another song called Out of Your System. That'll also be really fun. You've not heard that either. Out of the ones you just heard, I reckon Written All Over Your Face will be fun to do live.
From Zuzia, am I saying that right? Yeah, Zuzia said, what made you decide to have a deluxe version of the album? Do you find it harder to choose songs that you want to put on the album versus the deluxe?
Well, I never want to, with Walls and with every record I make, I never really want to put, well, obviously, I never want to put any filler on there. I want to make it clinical. So with Walls, I didn't have as many great songs to choose from when I put the album together. That's why it was a little bit shorter than this one. Whereas I kind of knew what I wanted to do on this record, so I just had more songs, and I just didn't want to cut some of the ones that I loved. So that's the good thing about the deluxe. You can kind of just keep adding and keep adding.
And I mean, just the standard album, 16 tracks, right?
Yeah.
16.
And again, like even on the first record, like I had this thing where I'm like, I don't want to make one of these albums that's got like 16 tracks, because in my head at the time, being closed-minded, I was like, it's cool, let's do like a 10-song, 12-song kind of thing. But no, you just want it all, you lot, innit?
You gotta remember too, when there's 16, that means there was over 100 sometimes that you're like, okay, this is what it feels right. This is the cohesive story that's being told.
Yeah, exactly.
From Molly, who by the way she didn't get passes to be here. We saw her outside. She's been outside since 7 a.m. We're like, well, we've got to invite her in, right?
Nice.
She had a question that I heard earlier, and we're like, okay, well, we got to ask this. When you think of the lyrics that you wrote for Walls versus the lyrics from Faith in the Future, how do you feel you've grown as an artist when you're comparing the two?
I think every song you write, you know, you learn a little bit. You learn a bit about your own songwriting. You pick up information from other people that you're collaborating with. So I would say it's pretty cliche, but like as I've got older, I think and more experienced as a writer, I feel like maybe there's more maturity in the lyrics. Maybe conceptually, there's more maturity. I don't know. You'll have to decide.
From Francis, and we kind of already touched on this, but I'll officially ask, when can we look forward to new tour dates?
Soon. That's all I'll say.
Soon. Any notes on the album from you guys? You're a genius.
Nice
Amazing.
top. I like your top.
We love it, and I just love the big room sound, man. I'm excited to see this live.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Louis Tomlinson, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Spout.